Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is John and Jenna from Flippin' Ain't Easy, and very, very busy day today. Hopefully, yours was maybe a little bit easier than mine, but just kind of running around like a chicken with my head cut off. What's new, right? Um, Kind of just barely made this in time. I had some delays today, so all's good though. Um, So wanted to talk to you guys about a few things, but before we get started, let some people kind of roll in here. If you're watching with us live on the live stream, of course, your participation helps drive the program. So please comment and ask your questions in the chat. If you're not able to make it, you're watching this after the fact, please comment down below your questions, comments, answers, whatever you want to provide. Certainly would be appreciated. But no matter how you watch this show, please hit that like button. We have a special going on right now. I'm charging you exactly $0. And if you hit the like button within the next 24 hours, you're guaranteed to get a sale on eBay, or I give you your money back. So just something to think about. It works. I'm telling you guys, it's so crazy how people say, hey, it works. So the topic at hand that I want to talk to you about, this came up on e-commerce bites, and that is eBay lost 8.9% in revenue during Q4 of 2022, this last Q4. And it confirms a lot of things to me. It confirms this recession that people want to deny. There's people that say, oh, it is not a recession. This is the biggest job market, and all this, that, and the other thing. There's a number of reasons why there's jobs to be had out there, but has nothing to do with the fact that, like eBay, 8.9% in lost revenue. And I'm sure eBay isn't the only ones that are reporting that kind of thing. Whether you want to admit it or not, and I hate the fact that that's happening, but we're in a recession of some sort, okay? And the quicker you get around to realizing that that's at least the possibility, the better it is to understand what's going on, rather than just getting blindsided. We as sellers are always looking for ways to improve our sales. That's probably why you're watching these kind of videos. It's probably why you're watching the live streams. 8.9% is quite a bit. Now, if we look at my performance, let's look at my performance. All I can do is control what I can control. I can't control your performance. So if I'm looking at my performance, I can tell you this, that I've lost well more than 8.9% in sales. Now, I could sit here and I can blame it on a number of factors. I can blame it on eBay. I can blame it on, the economy, right? But at the end of the day, it's all about what I can do with my business. Okay. If I'm sitting with my, on my hands, waiting for something to change, and I'm not willing to take ownership of my own outcome, then is it really eBay's fault? I mean, to me, look, I'm at 100. Look, guys, it's 8.9% is a symptom of the problem. But what I guess I'm saying is that eBay has a lot of faults between the glitches, the unfriendly policies towards sellers, things like that we can bemoan and get upset about. But at the end of the day, despite all that, if someone like me can turn around my store where I'm at 128% increase in sales month over month, I don't know what to say. I really don't. I mean, that's just an amazing change. And it has to do with finally coming across, after many, many attempts to find different sourcing methods, I finally found a sourcing method that I'm comfortable with, that I can work with, that works for me, that works for my eBay business. And I stress this so many times. There's so many ways to make money on this platform. There is, despite traffic and revenue loss on eBay's part of 8.9%. That's 8.9% less transactions than the year before, which I argue was a down year even then. So it's probably even lower than what norm is, as far as I'm concerned, for Q4. I am kind of fired up today. If you guys haven't, if you can't tell, I listen to a lot of channels when I'm working. And I think there's a lot of YouTubers that really, really, really mean well, but they speak only from their point of view. Unfortunately, what works for them may not work for you. What works for me may not work for you. And, all I can do is hope that you're motivated enough to figure out your own situation to where you can get out of, let other sellers have that 9% loss in sales. Um, be the seller that's going to buck that trend, and really, regardless of how the economy is, you're going to find ways to make this work for you. Because what's the alternative? The alternative is what? Go work for a boss that doesn't care about you. Go trade your time for money. Is that what it is? eBay is the only job, or reselling is the only job that I know of where you can actually be off on a day and make money. And you can make money at this business 365 days of the year. You can't do that in a 9 to 5. By law, you have to have rest days, and you're not making money on off days for most people. I'm not talking about salary jobs either. So I'm just kind of fired up in a good way, I guess. But at the same time, when I hear a lot of what feels like misinformation, or people being led, or led in the wrong direction because what works for them, they're thinking that, hey, it works for me, it could work for you. But that couldn't be further from the truth, because everyone's situation is very different. And it really bothers me when I watch channels and hear people talk about how, wow, it's working for me. I sell 1 out of every 500, but I've got 1 million items in my store. It can work for you. And that's just not true. And it really kills me inside, because you're going to get people that are going to follow these people, and they're going to be probably wondering why they can't make ends meet, because they just don't have enough inventory to keep up with the bad listings. So this channel is designed to give you information that is going to give you the most optimal listings. I am not the most perfect person in the world. I am going to make mistakes, and I'm going to show you my mistakes, and hopefully you guys can learn with me along with my mistakes. So that's my 7-minute diatribe. But I really feel passionate about this subject. And I really feel passionate about people who want to do better. And I think some of us just aren't cut out to be resellers. If we're just, we want the easy way, we want the quick way, we want the fastest way. And sometimes that's not the way, guys. And, that's just kind of where I'm coming from on this. Now, what do we do about eBay's situation here? Nothing we can do about it, right? But as sellers, we can continue to list. Don't let news like this bring us down. This is an eBay problem. This is not a you problem. If you as a seller is doing everything you can, I'd like to think if things aren't going well, I kind of press even more to get more listings up, to get more work done. But this is just putting your finger on the pulse of what's going on, not only with eBay, but the economy, and not beating yourself up if you've done everything that you can, made every change. And let's say you're only down 8, 9, 10%, then no, that's probably a lot of it has to do with the economy. But if you're down further than that, like I was down like 30, 40%. That's a me problem. And I certainly, I like to think after about a month and a half of my changes that I've made, and I'm on a pace for like almost a $10,000 month in revenue, that this change is a sign that not only can I do it, but if you put your mind to it, you guys can as well. So I want your comments. I want to know what you guys think about that. How many of you really, really believe that we're not in a recession? I mean, and put some information along with it. Don't just say I saw it on CNBC today. That's not what we want to hear. It's if you can't really address what you can't acknowledge, and of course you can't do anything about the recession, but you can make adjustments to your business and how you operate. Maybe it means you're going to list more just to kind of keep up with the changes, where you're not going to lose that extra 10% because you're going to list more. I think that's a way to do it. So want to see who we have today in the chat here. We got Roy Arl. I always get that guy mixed up. It was second to get here, but I don't know what time the first one got here because they didn't say anything. We have Picky Ricky. We have Bill York. We have Sandra Hoyer. You know what? We're just gonna have to just give me some Hooked on Phonics because I'm always gonna mess that name up. I apologize. Victor Wawiorka, Mark Suddick, Chris Wiley, SM Postcards. That's Mark. Carol Biddle, the Disgruntled Octopus, Leonard Kasakowski, and Keena. We've got Biscuit Butt, Las Vegas Finder, and quite a bit more. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to keep up with you guys this time. I know sometimes I get stuck, about 15, 20 minutes behind. It's kind of the general nature with live streams that you're going to kind of fall behind, especially when you're elaborating on things and people have questions and you want to give them an answer. But let's see. We have Carol in the house. Snowed 10.5 inches of snow in Portland, Oregon.
Wow.
Roads are still icy, snowy. I was out picking up.
It is freezing here.
Yeah, I was out picking up liquidation today, and I was waiting, and I was outside, and I'm like, man, if it's rains today, it's actually going to be snow.
Well, yesterday he was out at the bins, and he went over to IKEA, and it was snowing.
It was snowing.
Yeah.
Now the reason why I went to IKEA, that place, I rarely go to IKEA, but the only reason why I went there is because I wanted to get some of their big blue bags. For those of you who go to the bins, I think that is probably the best way. If you have some kind of a system, a bag system like that, it's a huge blue bag. I think you get them for like 99 cents each. We got 4 bags. Got one for, transporting shoes from the garage to the cleaning area here. And the other 3 I'm going to have when I go to the bins, I just open them up in the cart. And then as I add stuff to my cart, I'm just throwing them in the bag. Because here's the thing. Normally at the bins, at least the bins that we go to, when you're done, they have this little ramp. You put the cart on the yellow ramp, and that's where the scale is. They've got like 3 different size carts at that place, right? And so for me, I don't know if the clerk is on their game or not. They're going to hit cart 3 when I have cart 1. It's going to be the wrong weight. So for me, I'd rather just pull the items out from the bag onto the scale. Do not park the cart on there and get the true measurement of what I'm paying for. And one time I think I had a full shopping cart and I paid over 100 something bucks. The next time I pulled everything out and it was a lot less than that. So I think I kind of learned the lesson in the back of my mind that, they can't really, if you're relying on them to adjust the weight of the cart, and this way they don't have to worry about, putting the wrong one in. So that's why I was over at IKEA yesterday, and it was just this kind of like the flurries. But I'm like, what the heck is this? You're not used to seeing snow out here in Vegas, and it was really kind of cool. One of those moments where I had to call Jen all excited, all geeked out about it. Picky Ricky, hit the like button. I'll get that sale soon. Yes. Keena, can't wait for Jenna to do this one solo.
No, she's asking, is she doing this?
No, but really, the hidden message is that she really is waiting for that day. A lot
of people are apparently, but
I'm waiting for that day.
That's not till April.
Because see, here's the thing. I want to see what you start with. I want to see what the subject is and really what you go into and talk about before you start answering questions and stuff.
I'm just going to go right in. I'm not about your diatribe, for 15, 20 minutes.
I hope though, really guys, and maybe you guys can tell me what you think. I mean, really, do you want these live streams to be me bringing a subject? I mean, I think it kind of starts things off, but honestly, I feel strongly about, this business of reselling, and I see things from my perspective. I give you that, right? So sometimes it's hard to see things from your perspective or this YouTuber's perspective, but I do try to stay in tune with what you guys tell me through the comments, through the emails you send me, and a lot of the stuff that I'm talking to you about, is happening to other people, and you know, the things that they're sharing, the concerns that they have. And you know, there's a lot of people out there right now who are struggling, and you may be one of them out there. um, Reselling is definitely a way to make ends meet, but it's not for everyone, and you have to have the right stuff to sell. I can tell you this: if I have about less than 1,000 items in my store between both stores, if I went just to the bins, and bins supplement my inventory, that's all it is. If I just went to the bins alone and no other place, I would have to have a lot more inventory in my store, a lot more work, a lot more stuff, and a lot lower sell through rate than I do right now. I have a pretty good sell through rate on my main store, considering I just a little bit over 300 items. And that's really where I want to be. I don't want to be bogged down with the Raiders of the Lost Ark warehouse full of stuff that I have to navigate through. I commend those who have that kind of a system and who have that kind of a work ethic to build a huge store like that. It's just awesome to me. It makes me happy for them that they're that, you know, dedicated to reselling. For me, I just, my sell through rate has been so good since I started full time that I've really never needed a huge place. And
Well, I also don't think it's all about quantity. It's not about quantity.
No.
It's about quality.
No.
And
Mhm.
I just don't believe in having hundreds of thousands of items at low dollar amounts when you can sell two or three at a higher dollar amount, and it's just less work overall.
Mhm. I think so. I mean, you're talking to the one who ships. Can you imagine?
Oh my god.
Can you imagine 10xing your shipments,
No.
and making half the money per item? I don't know.
I would be defeated,
You know,
to be honest.
we get pretty good dollar. I'd love to tell you what my ASP is over the last few weeks. I just have fallen behind on getting that updated on my spreadsheet, which I'm going to do, and I'm going to report to you guys. It's been that kind of hectic for me over the last couple weeks, and it doesn't help any when, you know, I've got a buddy in town. He's like, "Hey, come and hang out with me." So after the live stream,
you're doing that tonight.
yeah, we're gonna go and play a little poker and hang out tonight, get away, and then you know, we have ASD on Sunday, and I have an announcement to make. Since we have 122 in the chat, Monday's live stream is going to be a little later, and there's a reason for it.
And a little different.
Be a little different, because Jenna's okay. Here's the thing. Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific
I'm being
time.
kicked off the channel, guys.
No, she's not getting kicked off. We have a special guest that I've been trying to get on the show for the longest time. And I tell you, this guy is totally cool. He's a local out in the Vegas area. Ran into him a couple times at different yard sales in the Vegas Valley. And I got to tell you, this guy is probably going to be on, everyone's going to know this guy here in the next year or two, as far as resellers are concerned, because if you don't know him, his name is Art from the Art of Resell channel, and he is just a cool dude.
He's a really good guy.
Really good dude, and I've been wanting to get him on the program, you know, to just talk about, guess what's coming up for a lot of you guys? Yard sale season. I mean, it's already here for us in Vegas, and as weather gets better, different parts of the country, you guys are going to be able to get out there. I know a lot of you are jonesing to get out to yard sales, and there's, to me, no better guest to have this time of year while we're getting ready to get out back into doing the yard sale thing than a guy like Art, because the guy knows the game. I watch his videos, and I just, you know, it's like, I'll just say it. To me, game recognizes game. And when you are negotiating with someone at a yard sale, I don't think there's anyone better to learn from than that guy, because, you know, it's amazing. That's the deals that dude gets. And there's no, I have no shame in that. If I can leave a yard sale spending $20 less than I probably should have, that's a score. That's how you win in this game, is by sourcing. And that's what this channel is about, making money. So we're going to have him on, and we're going to maybe share some, hopefully he has some secrets that he can share, and we can chat about the yard sale game. So I think that's something I'm looking forward to. Hopefully,
What
you guys
I
are.
want to know is how he gets deals at the flea market. I mean, what do they call that? Is that a flea
Well,
market?
it's yeah.
When we went,
Was
they
it
were charging way overpriced. I mean, they might as well have been like just a store for eBay because their prices were so overpriced. It was ridiculous. But he goes there a lot and he gets a lot of deals.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the language barrier because
well,
we don't speak Spanish and a lot of them do. And so I don't know if that's it. I don't know what it is, but he does a great job at getting what he wants at a good price.
Yeah, and just you watch his videos, even the shorts that he puts out, and it's like, okay, there's no way you're spending less than 50 here. And the guy says 20. And he says, how about 15? I almost lost it, right? And they said, okay. I'm like, wow, this is so.
Plus, maybe it's also too the fact that they see him all the time. He goes there often.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you network, we talk with Ed, we talk with Tommy. I think they have connections that they've met at flea markets and that type of thing. But even we're talking like yard sales. This guy's never met any of these people. It has no relationship with these people at all. And it's just how you interact with people, how you really just talk to them, the sellers at these yard sales. And I think that makes a huge difference. So let's see. Sandra Hoyer says, my sales are only 1 to 3 a day, and I did a huge overhaul of my store and slash prices to get rid of this.
Yeah, we did that too.
You got to do that sometimes.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we may set a price based on comps, and the comps are too high.
Yeah.
And now you're sitting on it, and that's another thing. The set it and forget it model, where you just list and don't do anything else, is, in my opinion, the worst way to do it, because you got to maintain your actual listings that you have on the site. Not to just bulk edit just the sake of editing, but going in, and there's a chance that you might have some errors. There's a chance your item's not selling because it's in the wrong category. To me, I like to piggyback sell similar off of an existing comp. Right? Okay, they had a pretty good title. It sold for this amount. Let's sell similar. And I don't know how they sold it, but guess what? They had it in the wrong category. And that might be why it's, your items just sitting there.
Even too, like just the other day. So on our second account, Hot Desert Deals, I average anywhere from a minimum of 2 to more 10 items sold a day, right? Well, it's been averaging about 5, 6 a day. Well, the other day there were 0, and I'm like, that's bizarre. I mean, the items are not they're not my favorite. Of course I call it crap. But they're low priced. Everything's at a discount. There's coupons and you name it. However, there were 0 sales, and I'm like, not even one? That's weird. So I kind of went through and just on a few of the items looking at comps. Even still, I think the comps were too high. So I went in and just adjusted it even by a couple of dollars, even if it just, you have to go in and make tweaks on a constant basis.
Yeah. And as far as that store, look, we've had that store. We had everything in my main store. I wanted to get the ASP up in my main store and move the smaller items, anything under $20 for the most part, moved over to that store. But because I'm no longer really sourcing low end items, a lot of this is stuff that we've accumulated. So as we go through the stuff in our garage that's waiting in queue to be listed, I don't want to call it a death pile, because I like to have inventory in queue, because you never know what you're going to get when you go sourcing, and it's good to have something to fall back on. Once I get through that stuff, and eventually we're going to get to a point where either stuff is just not going to sell on that other store, where we just stop making sales, and we just stop adding inventory, low price inventory, and we're only buying higher end stuff. And once that happens, then that store is probably going to close up. Now, With that said, I think we did about what, 1,500, $2,000 on that smaller store. So that put us well over 10,000. That actually put us for the last 30 days around $11,000 in sales, which for the type of stuff that I'm sourcing and buying, I think that's just outstanding. And based on what's happening at eBay, I mean, it could be even better if the economy was right and the sales were right on the platform. But yeah, over the last, I don't know if it's going to show me here. Yeah, last 30 days, $2,000 on that account. And we're making a lot of smaller sales, right? And of course, that's not what these numbers aren't. What, of course, gets sent to my my bank account. This is what is paid by the customer. I would say I'm operating about a 45% margin, and that's fine. It's putting me back on track to what I'm used to back in 2019, 2020, and early 2021. Okay, enough about me. Let's see what else we had. Savage Pickers is in the house. Hello, I had a few good days and a few slow days this week, enjoying a nice glass of wine while tuning into your show. Awesome. Well, don't get too lit on that wine.
Or go ahead.
Well,
it depends on what kind of week you've had.
Well, you know how these shows get. After about the hour and a half mark, we start getting off the rails. So if the comments get a little interesting, I know what's happening. Andy's in the house. We have Callie Debs. We have Art Betzold. The old man Pix is in the house.
Ping G.
Yeah, Ping G.
No design.
Dixie Flipper says, "Hi, John and Jan."
It's Jen.
I know, but Jan. Want to thank you guys for coming out for lunch and a good deal on the shoes and darts. This is my store name and YouTube channel. This is Michael from St. George. Hey,
you
Mike.
Made a YouTube channel.
Awesome. That's awesome.
We had a conversation about that.
Yeah. So hopefully that all worked out for you.
Very good.
And that is really, really cool. Oh, by the way, if Roman's out there,
oh, yeah.
I don't know. See, I was trying to understand why you were, number one, using a different name to watch the show and to comment.
Seen him yet.
But also, I was wondering why Roman was, saying that, here to unlock me from.
Yeah,
someone blocked him, and I didn't do it.
So I don't know if maybe it was an accident by one of the mods or what have you, but that was not something that we did, and he doesn't like me going ahead of him in the comments. So as far as when I was reading it, I'm trying to understand what happened. And now that we got off, as soon as we got off of the live, I went in and looked at the mods because I was going to add someone on. And I saw Roman on the blocked list. And I was like, wait a minute, we never did that.
So someone who has a lifeline to Roman, just tell him, hey, we're sorry. We didn't mean to block you.
We don't know how that happened. I don't know if it was accident or what happened, but anyway, so it's fixed.
The old man Pick says, yes, it's been a multi-year slide in sales for eBay. And then he also elaborates that I think it's a little of both. And I don't know exactly both of what, but I don't think the younger generation embraces eBay. They're not looking for that odd item for their youth. They seem to be more minimalistic than us old people. So
I do agree with that. The young eBay doesn't appeal to the younger generation like it does to others like us.
Yeah. And so my thought process is that that's on eBay. Shame on eBay for not reaching out to the younger generations to advertise and to pull them in as to, here's some cool stuff that maybe your generation's into to get them onto the platform. Now, I still think that there's, you have a lot of the newer generation who are into like thrifted clothing and things like that. So, how about reaching out to them and letting them know that, hey, you have other alternatives than Whatnot or Poshmark. You could buy this stuff here on eBay. But they've kind of gotten away from that. They want to advertise their sneakers and their watches and their.
I mean, if Temu can, do advertisements on Super Bowl, can't eBay do a little something on, YouTube, because that's where everybody's watching. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Hello.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of advertisements from eBay. I
No,
mean,
there's not many, if
Jeff,
at all.
yeah,
Sorry.
Jeff says greetings. Got to think up a question, but most of my questions have nothing to do with eBay. Jim Harden's in the house, and then we have Tiffany M. Laws in the house. We have our buddy Prosser is in the house. Tommy says misery loves company. That's why Facebook groups were created. Yeah, you can get really go down a rabbit hole where a lot of people are like, woe is me, my sales are slow. And, people, I think, I really believe this, that people think that eBay or reselling in general is their just quick ticket to riches, where they don't have to work as nearly as hard as they had to in their 9 to 5. It looks glamorous, and you could blame that on a lot of YouTubers. Heck, blame me if you want. Hopefully I don't make it look that glamorous. I mean, if you watch some of my videos, a lot of people think that I'm negative, but it's not what it's portrayed to be. And unfortunately, people find that out, and then they're left holding their hands up in the air saying, well, what happened? The YouTuber I watched before I quit my job said I was going to do great with this business. So
right, everybody John brought this up this morning, and I truly believe that eBay has its issues, right? We all can agree that.
Mhm.
And some are more times than others. But you also have to take accountability for what you're selling, how you're running your business, your policies. It's a whole variety of things that you can do to counteract all the BS that we have to put up with eBay. There's a lot that you can do within your store and your product and your sourcing that will get you not in that bubble of my sales are terrible and what do I do now, and I'm doing everything right, but you're really not, because you're still selling, undesirable items.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at my chart here. I'm not complaining at all about my sales, but if I could actually hope. I don't see a whole lot of consistency in that. Even with the numbers that I'm looking at, I've had some bad days, and you're going to have bad days, but those bad days are going to be offset by better days. So you're looking really more for an average or a median that you're making. And I still not at my goal. My goal is to, like I've had for a while, is $500 a day in sales. That equates over a 30-day month, $15,000. If I'm putting out a 40-45% margin, that'll get me what, $7,000 in the bank, and that's good stuff, right? So we're not quite there yet, but that means that, do I wait for eBay to fix things for me? Do I wait to see an uptick in the economy before I can expect that, or can I take it into my own hands and do everything that I can to improve my own situation? And that's kind of where I'm coming from. Why I'm kind of fired up, because I want to see you guys succeed. I feel like if someone like me can be successful at this business, and all it takes is time and dedication and constant perseverance, and not just settling, then you guys can do it. There's money to
We
be
may
made out
not
there.
have the same results as everyone else, or you have them the same as us, but if we're all doing similar things and thinking on the same wavelength about this is a business and you're running it as a business, as long as you're doing that, then I feel like nobody can really fail, as long as you're putting together the tools that you're learning from this channel and many other channels that have a lot of success.
Right. So I agree with all that, and that's why it's important. And I think the reason why a lot of people tune in to YouTube for their eBay content is because they're doing this by themselves. They're on an island, this, that, and other thing. And it's easy to see what a YouTuber is doing and go, wow, but you don't have the same situation as them. You don't have a warehouse, probably. Maybe you do. But for most of us, There's some people only have a 1-car garage, not a 2. So you're looking at my situation, you can't really set up your setup the way I have it. You have to make do with what your situation allows. And
we've been saying that for years, since the very beginning. You know, nobody's situation is going to be the same as the other.
yeah, I mean, I could sit here and say if I had a warehouse, I would be killing it. Would I? I mean,
Right.
I'd have overhead. Would I really be getting that? Would I be listing more? Would I have to hire an employee? You know, what would that entail? So I think for a lot of us, we look and see that the grass is greener, but you know, our situation doesn't allow us to get to the other side, and we just have to make do with what we have, or like I was telling you guys earlier, not necessarily make do with what we have, but understand that sometimes that we're comfortable, and we got to get out of our comfort zone and look for other opportunities to I don't want big stuff. I've been buying bigger items, larger
Let
items.
me tell you.
Okay. But I realize that, you know, the smalls are getting harder and harder to find, the smaller products. And while I'll buy them all up if I can come across some good price small items, sometimes there's a lot more value in the larger items. And that's kind of one of my strategies lately too, is to find bigger things, get out of my comfort zone, and deal with the space or lack thereof that I have in trying to make that work. And it's working. So do something that you think may not be comfortable and go with that. Try it out.
And for example, about making changes or adjusting things within your business. So, like John just said, he's buying a lot of larger items, which neither one of us like to sell, but that's what's making the money. So that's what we're buying and that's what we're selling. So therefore, you know, John buys the small bubbles on a regular basis, but it's taking more bubbles to pad a box or pad an item to make sure that it's not damaged in transit to get to the customer. So my suggestion the other day was, can you please go back to buying the larger,
well, the wider ones,
the wider bubbles, so I don't have to use so much bubble wrap? And he's like, oh yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, you're right.
Those are just, it can be the smallest of tweaks.
Yeah.
So
let's see. I love to see this. Leith Bowden. I was able to buy out 2 stores in February. Some great stuff. Already got my buy cost back.
yeah,
I like that. That's
awesome.
really, really cool. And I bet, Leith, it was when you were probably approached about buying out the 2 stores, you probably had some pause and was like, I don't know, you know, maybe I shouldn't. But you took that step that a lot of people won't take. People will say, well, you know, I really can't afford it, or you know, that's a lot of work. I don't want to put the work in to process all that stuff. I'm comfortable yard selling and getting that type of stuff in my store, and I don't want to upset what I currently do. And my argument is, if you're happy with your routine and your results from that routine, don't change a thing. Don't listen to a word I'm saying. But you know, this is an example of maybe Leith stepped out of his comfort zone, and as a result, and he put the work in, he put the money out, and it's paying off. And
everything now is gravy because he's already got his money back.
Right, but my point is, I'm sure that none of it was comfortable at first.
No, it never is. When John comes in and tells me, hey, you know, hey, I think I want to buy this, and I'm like, oh God, you know, but then we just make the jump.
Yeah, picked up another 25 items today, and she looked at me like I was nuts. But you know, it's and I have, for the most part, I
always look at him like he's nuts.
But the thing is, before I even picked it up, I had the items in drafts. So all I have to do is add the price. All I have to do is add the photos. Of course, I'm going to expect, and the first step is to inspect everything, make sure everything is what I think it is. If it's a different condition, I need to go in and adjust the listing. But go in and price the item accordingly, take my photos, and get the weights. So the box dimensions and weights. Once that's in there, my item descriptions are already in place. My item specifics are already in place. I already have the, in my opinion, the best title I'm going to get. I'm just going to go add those things in and launch them. So those are ready to go. and it just saves a lot of work when you know what you're getting. And this is another thing for someone who maybe buys liquidation lots that are manifested. If you're waiting for that truck to roll up to your house and you got a couple of days before it gets there, you should be building some listings based on the information you do have, at least drafts, and then go back in, and it'll save you a lot of time. Let's see. I think I'm so behind, even though I get more behind as I say I don't want to be behind. Biff says, I think eBay slowed because in-person shipping opened up. Amazon slowed, or probably meant shopping opened up. Amazon slowed too. People actually spent a lot of money for Christmas and the holidays last season. Yeah.
All of those can be contributors, all of those things, along with other factors that we haven't even talked about. It all adds up.
Do you think that it could be that, we've been talking the last year about eBay losing buyers? If you don't have the same number of buyers on the platform, that's also going to contribute to lower numbers as well. Marco Carpio says, thanks for all the tips. I had really slow sales. Last night I sold a few items pretty much back to back. Might be something in the algorithm. Now there's this thing floating around about servers, and it's something I want to understand. And if anyone understands how the servers affect sales, now look, I understand that, eBay isn't just some magical thing that pops up on your screen. I think a lot of us think, of eBay just being something you can turn on your computer, but there's a lot of technology that goes into the back end. I understand all that. What I'm saying is, how can, let's say, for instance, how can I kill it one day, but then I tune into somebody's channel and they say, well, because of the server issue, I didn't do very well. Is it tied into certain accounts? Is it tied into certain parts of the country? It's something that, or is it a myth? Is it just one of those other things, that people say,
just an
affects,
excuse?
Well, I don't want to say it's an excuse, because I think there's something to it. But what I'm saying is how much of the server problems, and look, I'm looking at a roller coaster ride on my account, but I've had some days where I didn't even crack $100 in sales, and I still have over $10,000 in sales between both accounts. So is there something to the whole server thing? I think there is, but I want to know more. Is it as much as people are saying it is, or is it just a small part? Is it a very small part? I think it's
a very small part, because there are so many people just that we hear of from this channel that are doing very well, or even just well. The server, unless you have a back line to the people in the IT department and you're getting it straight from the horse's mouth, I think it plays only a very small role in your sales.
And that kind of leads me to what Jim is asking here, wondering how you feel about quality versus quantity. I think people prefer that $10 to $25 sale versus one sale for $100, like having that variety for different budgets. Well, there's been I guess the average buyer feels comfortable spending anywhere between $25 to $40. That's kind of what someone did a study and said that's kind of the comfort zone for a lot of buyers. You don't really think about, it's not going to kill most people that spend 25, 30 bucks on an item versus $100. Now there's some thought process into that. But with that said, to me, I'm looking at my time. So I'm looking at how long does it take me to make that listing for one $100 item versus four $25 items. Let's say they're all different. It's going to take me longer to make the listing for four different $25 items versus that $100 item. And this is where a lot of channels will give you different information. Some will say you should be listing one every minute. Well, that's ridiculous. Maybe you're selling a pair of socks, and I guess if you're selling a pair of socks, what are you going to do? Flip one side and go to the other side? Okay, you're done. But if you're selling a record player, if you're selling electronics, if you're selling all kinds of different stuff, it's going to take you longer to not only inspect the item, clean the item if you need to clean it, take good photos of the item. Some even may utilize video. Like I like to utilize video to show that an item is actually working and how it works. I think that's important. And that's going to take longer than a minute and longer than 5 minutes in some cases. So my time for every listing that I take, I need to maximize my time because I know that my time is involved. And so I need to have more money. That's why I'm moving the smaller items to the other store to get rid of it, like a clearance store. My main focus is on my main account.
Yeah, a lot of those items that are in that store we have had for a long time. I mean, there are some things that they just refuse to be sold. Like they're hanging on for dear life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, those are some of the things that I've been talking about. I just want to get rid of. I don't care where they go at this point. They're been sitting for so long in our possession that I'm just sick of looking at them.
So the real plan is to really, I think April is when the secondary store is up for renewal for the year. They lock you into a savings on the monthly price of the store. And I'm just going to, when it comes to April, whatever I don't sell in that store, pretty much going to either migrate some of the higher priced stuff back to my main store, or I'm going to just donate it or put it in liquidation bundles or whatever and kind of get rid of it. And the goal is to get back to the main store. But for right now, I just don't want to bog down my main store's performance by having lower ASP items in it. And ever since I did that, made that change, I increased the size of my store, the capacity by upping to the next level. I think I'm on the $59 plan. I don't know what they call it nowadays, the basic or whatever. No, it's above the basic plan. That allows me to do more end items, sell similar. I do that a lot. Maybe once a week, I'll do that. And that helps as well. And my sourcing, I made all those changes and it's really made a real big difference for me. Now, Tommy says, I've been making mistakes since 2001. Ask my first wife. I'm used to it. So I know exactly what you're saying there, Tommy. I 100% agree with you. Been there, done that. Picky Ricky says, I was in cash converters twice today. They were begging me to buy stuff because nobody was in there the 2 times I was in there. Is that like a thrift store in UK? Cash converters. That's interesting. Time Traveler's Chest says, good afternoon, John and Jenna and everyone. I'm using you. I hit the like button, so hoping for sale. It was honestly worked the last 4 times. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the way you do it. Leaf says, recession started last year. I'm a firm believer of that. I just think some people are in denial. And look, if you're doing well, if you're making good sales and it doesn't really, you don't see it yourself, I can understand where you're like, what's the big deal? I'm paying more for eggs, but I can afford it, right? But you don't see that there's people down the street that are really struggling with just making ends meet. And because you're not living it, you think everything's fine. Chris says, I could feel for the recession. I could feel the recession even in my cost at the supermarket for starters. Yes, it's there. But like if you can afford it, it's not going to bother you as much as someone who's going hungry. I can promise you that. Cumberland Carpet Care says, thanks for all your knowledge, John. Your videos have helped tremendously on my eBay venture. Started just 1 year ago. What's the software you use for background removal? I use,
I just went blank.
Photo Room.
It's
like, okay, I know the name. I just used it like 20 times a day. Photo Room on, I think it's both on iPhone and on Android as well. AEIOU from eBay. Finally, I cut a live so I can give you a thumbs up and get a sale. Can you stop and restart so I can do it twice? Well, I'm way behind, so you can do it now again if you want. No one designed to says recession is a state of mind because my sales says I'm up from last year and on target hit my sales goals. So that's what I'm saying. If you are doing well, then it's not going to feel like a reality to you. It's going to feel like, well, that's what a lot of people are talking about, but I don't see it. So I mean, it's
going to affect some more than others,
right? And that's just the thing. What you're selling, in my opinion, is recession proof. Whatever it is that you're selling is, you got to keep doing what you're doing. But there's a lot of product out there that isn't recession proof and is going to sell slower during harder times than others. And I'm finding that out just by the changes in the product that I'm selling. Purple Cactus Sales. Hello, watch your chats all the time. Since watching sales, doing great sales, up over 120% for beginning of the year compared to last year. We're selling collectibles and people spending big money. Yes.
That's awesome.
That's really good. Biff is up 45% over 2022 and 100% over my last 30 days. Other people can have a recession. And look, I'm not willing a recession on anyone. I don't want anyone to think that, look, I'm just here to give you doom and gloom, but you got to be in tune with what's going on around you. You know, the sky might be falling, but if you're inside, you never see that the sky is falling. You're not going to believe it until it actually happens to you. So, you know, I want to see everyone succeed. I'm succeeding. I've been succeeding over the last month and a half. And, you know, my goal is to share that message with you guys. And the message is, you know, don't give up, keep plugging away. And, but you can't just keep plugging away doing the same thing you've been doing and think that something's going to change. You got to make the necessary changes. If you're still comfortable after making those changes, you didn't make the right changes. Let's see. Victor says, first of all, eBay has made it harder and more time consuming to list with ignorant item specifics, as well as very poor listing tool. I see people spending lots of cash in on-site live auctions. You're right. eBay has made the game a little more difficult than it used to be, but it's really, to me, it's all about adapting. So, okay, so now they want more item specifics out of you. So how are you going to proceed? If before maybe you just decided to go in and create listings from scratch, right? Every item I get, I'm creating new listings. I have to put in new item specifics for every item. Well, if you're doing that, what about looking for an item that's sold already, where someone's already did the work, put the item specifics in, go in, sell similar. If you want to change the title, change the title. But most of the item specifics are already in there for you. And that's a way to save some time. I don't create new listings. I look for someone who sold that item or a similar one. If it's a similar one, I'll go in and change the item specifics. But I know that that item sold with those item specifics in there. And it's better than going and doing it from scratch, as far as I'm concerned. Morty the One says, hello, John and Jenna. I've made the live 2022 year was a rough year between house fire and our car dying at the end of the year. I was only down about 7% for the year, which was great for me considering. So, wow. Morty, that's probably, you probably were doing everything that you did before. And that 8 to 9% is probably just what everyone was experiencing. So for me, I was just all over the place last year.
Last year was a shit.
I failed 2022. We have Blackwood resellers in the house from UK. Thanks for being here with us today. Gravity Goods, what's good, everybody?
Everybody.
Everything's good so far. End of the week, right? TGIF. Let's see. Amazon seller says, hey guys, go Dodgers. Just kidding. Hey, if you like the Dodgers, then you like the Dodgers.
That's okay. No one Design said you look like a tomato.
I feel like one.
Yeah.
Alex says, for Vegas, I think we have a pretty awful bins. We get scores there, but it's small. People are rude and the debit credit card machine breaks down a lot. Let me tell you something about the bins. We have that.
Is Alex in Vegas?
I think so.
He must be.
Yeah. So what Alex probably knows that many of you don't. We have this one lady. She loves to yell. She thinks she's like the teacher. Like, remember your first grade teacher that loved to yell at you on the playground? Well, when we're out in the playground where the bins are, she's like yelling and like, get behind the line, right? But when you get to the register, she's worked the register. She's the nicest person, an older lady. But yeah, I agree with you. The bins are not very good. That's all the bins that I know of that we have. It's not like this is an Amazon bin store. Now, my daughter had mentioned that in LA, they live out in the Hollywood Hills area. There's a bin store, an actual Amazon bin store that's opening up or has opened up out there.
Yeah, she said it's opened. It just wasn't. It's not open on Sundays for whatever reason. So
yeah,
she said, well, now I guess you guys have an excuse to come down. So she said she looked through the window and she said it looked like all new items. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, I'll be there for sure. I plan on going to the LA area here probably within the next couple months. Working with a potential sponsor to the channel. Stay tuned on that. But it's going to require me to travel out that way if we do something. Prosser says, looking at the glitch James from Boring Reseller Life said about the glitch where it shows UK market over the US has got to have something to do with it. I think that I've seen that before, like when I'm sourcing, many times when I'm sourcing and I want to piggyback off of a listing and then I go, oh, that one looks pretty good, right? I don't even notice the whole, shipping and it says from UK. I'm not even expecting it, but I go in there and I click on the listing and I go sell similar, and it wants me to sign up for a, eBay UK account. I'm like, oh crap. Okay. So that's happened a lot. Why is it happening? That's a good question. I don't know, but I mean, is that going to cause an 8 to 9% decrease in sales? Now that's eBay as a whole. So fine, it's directing you to a listing in the UK that buyer buys the item anyway. That's still revenue for eBay. So I don't know. No Design says, hey Jenna, start with John's secret love affair with the color red. Oh, as far as like doing the video, I'm sure that'll go over well. Tommy says, I think it's going to be, you know how much John slacks off. I have to pull his weight type of chat. You know what he did yesterday? I can't believe it. Yeah, it'd be one of those things. Ashley says, hi, John and Jenna. How you doing, Ashley?
Hi.
Kimberly says, how do you know how much to clean up antiques or leave them dirty and grimy? That's a good question for everyone else.
You definitely want to clean them up. I wouldn't leave them dirty.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. If there's a lot of people who grab something that's antique and they will go in and clean it up, and they will instantly lower the value of the item because it was worth more in the condition that it was in. So I'm not the one to really.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on the item, what it is and what the finish is and all that.
Yeah. Picky Ricky says Kevin at Commonwealth Flipper had a 4 sales in a day the other day, and even he got worried. Yeah, look, I've had some slow sales days, and then all of a sudden, I had 3 days where I was at almost $600 back to back to back, and then I fell off a little bit on Thursday, and today is like, I guess the servers are down, right? Because I only have like $23 in sales on my main account. So it's going to be like that, right? And you can't just hit the panic button and just freak out and let it ruin your day. Just look at it like this. You're gonna have less to ship tomorrow. It's going to give you more opportunity to list instead of shipping. Savage Picker says girl power. There you go for doing the live. Let's see. No design about the whole antique thing. Kimberly, look at other listings and gauge the grime. So yeah, see how the product is selling for other people. You may think that, oh wow, this one sold for $100, but look how like crappy it looks. But the moment you clean it up and get rid of the varnish or whatever, I don't know anything about antiques. You might just lower the value and no one wants to buy it. Truman Lost in Time Picker says, hello all. Hello, John and Jenna. Hope everyone had a great week. Pretty good so far. Tommy says, I want 0 listings every day. I'd go back to UPS if I wanted to work in a warehouse.
Yeah. I don't want a warehouse either.
I mean, I like my little setup in the garage, right? I was telling Jenna last night. I walked into the garage and I said, there's something that's just really comforting when I walk out in this garage. I'm in my office, but I walk out in the garage, and the moment I walk out in that work area, that workspace, I just want to work.
And I said, because I cleaned it last week when you were gone and it's nice and organized and clean, that's why.
Well,
he's like, no,
it was set up the same way before you got your hands on it though. Let's see. Ricardo says, greetings, John and Jenna, from a very rainy OC. The like button has been hit. Okay, awesome. It's that rain's supposed to get out here.
Rain is we're gonna get hit tomorrow.
Jim says, not everyone likes nor has the funds to buy just high dollar items. You have to have a variety, or you're just catering to a certain percentage of buyers.
That's true.
To an extent, but let me just say this. I'm not saying, look, I have items that I sell for over $100. I sell a lot of items that I sell over $100. You think it cost me anywhere near that? I think some of these items cost me around $5 to $10. And I think, look, it boils down to the sourcing. I was complaining really loud over the last 2022. Just be real about it, about my lack of sourcing. And it's because people came to me with valid suggestions. Why don't you try this? Why don't you do that? Archie came to me with one, and he's like, I do this all the time, and I don't have time for that. I'm looking for like whole pallets. And
Mr. Stuck in his ways over here.
Right. So, it's it's one of those things where you just have to get out of your comfort zone, learn something new. That learning, look, you may think I've been doing this 20 years. I don't want to learn anything new. I just want to do what I know and make money. Well, as times change, as your situation changes, you may not have, you may not be able to do that. It just makes sense to, if you're comfortable, if you're like Noah Design, if you're like Tommy and you're doing what you're doing, you've been doing it for years and things are still great and you're happy with it, you shouldn't listen to any YouTuber, let alone me. But if you're seeking a way to maybe do better, you gotta get uncomfortable and get out of your comfort zone and make that your comfort zone, if that makes sense. Lawrence says young teenage kids more than one channel, whatnot, selling sneakers for hundreds of dollars with shelves behind full of new boxes. In 1 hour, they took in $10,000. Where do they source? They probably have hookups that they, or maybe it's on a consignment. Stolen. No, I think maybe it's on a consignment. Maybe they've hooked up with, a supplier and say, hey, I'll give you X amount. You sell this. But they make it look good, though, don't they? You would think they may have made $10,000 in a night, but just know they're probably operating a lot lower margins. Kimberly Sweet says, thank you. So far, everything I'm gathering is stuff from parents and grandparents. I just don't know how to clean it up. What about sterling silver, brass?
That's something I would look for a YouTube video.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
YouTube video that should be able to tell you exactly what products to use and what to do with it. Yeah.
And then Carol says, I love that John shares his experiences and insights. Some things show ways other resellers haven't thought about. It's great. Awesome, Carol. And I think sometimes we, get kind of stuck. This is the way I've done it for years. And we're not even really open to throwing a box in a bag and shipping it that way. But to me, I learned that the moment I started doing that, I fell in love with that. Just as an example. Let's see. Jim says, not everyone has the funds to buy just higher items. I already read that. I apologize. I'm just jumping everywhere. Ricardo says, try quality and quantity of listings and get Jenna more tape for the shipping. You know what I want to get? And sometimes I get El Cheapo, and that is get one of the paper tape machines.
Yeah,
that is cool. And the one I want to get is like over $1,000. So that's what's holding me back. It's cool. It's going to save you a lot of time and hassle and dealing with the tape gun. Let's see. Carol says, whenever I see new with tags or original shoes in box wrap, can't help but think how many of these are actually stolen. Yeah.
Obviously that was my first thought.
Well, they could be fakes, as Tommy says, lots of fakes at flea markets, that's right? True. And that's, where if you're getting high-end stuff, that's where authentication comes in and can ruin your day if you picked up the wrong pair. Ashley Sims says, I think it's a relationship thing. The owner of the thrift store will offer a bundle of stuff, yet I watched him kick someone else out saying this isn't a garage sale price. It could be that's what maybe Art is getting, that kind of thing. Yeah. But Tommy says, because eBay is a search engine, category doesn't matter unless the buyer can actually find filters and filter category. See so many men's shoes and women's shoes sold in the wrong categories daily. Yeah, that's why I can, like I'm saying, I'm piggybacking off of existing listings. So that listing sold with the wrong category. But if maybe someone is looking for that item by searching by category, like you're saying, they're never going to find it because I'm in the wrong one. Let's see. Ashley says, I've seen other places where they let people in back to pick up stuff before it hits the floor. I'm too scared to ask. Feel it's overstepping. Yet if they offered, I would be all over it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's just got to have a relationship with people. That's number one. With sourcing, I think if you know people, you're going to get a better deal than if you don't. If you go to their yard sale or their flea market booth, they're going to, wave you over and say, hey, I got these for you. But like you said, the same person comes over and offers $10 more than what you were going to sell it to this guy that they'd be offended by it. Mm-hmm. Mike's in the house. How you doing, Mike? Just got in, busy day in sourcing, got some good stuff. Awesome. Always good to hear that when people get some good stuff. Jim says, I would rather have $10 sales than one sale for 100 just because not that many people my opinion, will spend 100 on one item. Not saying it won't happen, just like offering a variety for folks. But see, Jim,
I'm the opposite.
I'm finding though, Jim, the items that I'm putting up for $100, not only do I have room. So if I'm the item for $5 or $10 and I have it up for 100, those higher end items seem to be getting a lot more demand. I'm getting a lot more offers. I'm getting a lot more traffic views on those listings. And, people are always going to try to get a deal, but I have room to give them a deal and make a quick flip. Now, if you have a $10 item that you spent $2 for, how much real room do you have to make a deal for someone? Also, you're going to be dealing, that's an extra 9 listings or 9 items where you could have a potential return or a negative feedback because 1 out of 9 didn't like the quality. That's another thing. eBay is asking buyers to not report their seller, what they thought their seller, how well they did. They're actually asking them to put a product review almost. If you've seen what the feedback form looks like for buyers, it's almost like they're asking. I had one person leave a product review. He liked the item, but I'm like, okay, this doesn't speak anything to me as a seller.
But I also think that Jim would say the same thing about, you could have 1 return out of those 10 and not be hit as hard on a return. I get that side of the coin too. So, I mean, personally, I would just rather sell the 1 item versus the 10. But I also do agree with you about selling $10 items. It's there, and I'm in the middle on both categories.
Well, here's the main kicker for me. So let's say, Jim, you're selling $200 a day, and with your $10 items. Okay, because look, we were in this ballpark in 2022, so I understand where you're coming from because we had a lot of $10 items in our store. The reality is, if I'm trying to get my average daily sales to 300 to 400, I have to. It's not like, okay, the math says that that's another 20 items that I have to sell, but it isn't as simple as listing another 20 items. You got to list a lot more than that just to get those extra sales. You got to really build a lot bigger store than what you have to get that extra money rolling in daily. But if I'm buying $100, like $5 items that I'm buying that I can flip into 100, right? That's what the market says. And I want to up my daily, return by 100, maybe $200, dollars in a day. That's like 4, 5, 6 more items that are $100 items that I got to list in a day. That's going to get me up to the higher dollar amount. Because see, what a lot of channels will tell you is they keep score by how many items they list. Okay. And they're real proud of, like, I listed 200 items today. Okay. What did you make? Oops, my screen went crazy. I just hit the button. Oh. What did you make today? Well, I made $700. Well, that sounds pretty good, right? But you had to make 250 listings to get that done, to build that big of a store that's going to allow those $10 items to really add up. But on the flip side, you have someone that sells, $50 to $100 items. They only have to list 10 to 20 per day, and they're going to make that same number. And that's the scoreboard to me. Money. You can't deposit items into your bank. You can deposit money into your bank, and that's what we do this for. So at the end of the day, it may be easier, and maybe that's why. Maybe dealing with a $10 item, you're going to get less critique from a buyer who has a bad experience with a $10 item than a $100 item, because for a lot of people, $10, I don't even care. They're going to complain more about a $100 item. Maybe that. But again, this is speaking to getting out of your comfort zone. If you're comfortable, if you're just in cruise control, and you're looking, and I put and you're looking to do better, well, you got to get uncomfortable. And if you're doing what you've been wanting to do, if you're paying your bills, if you're able to go on vacation, if you're able to ignore this recession that's going on around us because you're doing so well in sales, then continue in cruise control mode. And I wouldn't change a thing unless you really want to make even more than what you're making right now, if that makes sense.
I also too think you have to have more in your inventory if you're going to do 10 $10 sales. And there's not a lot of people have a lot of space. I mean, we're lucky enough to have a 2-car garage and an office. And if we needed extra space in my office, but what I'm saying is, some people are working out of their kitchen, their bedroom, or their living room, or a single car garage. They don't have a lot of space for selling $10 items a day versus selling that one major item. It takes up a lot less space.
Yeah.
And me personally, I'd rather ship one $100 item and bubble the shit out of it. Sorry, bubble the crap out of it and ship that out rather than 10 individual packages. But that's just me.
Ricardo's saying was also a eBay 20% off coupon over the President's Day weekend. And I guess it expired on Wednesday. So once that coupon expired, sales dropped for many sellers. That's a good point. But I have coupons. So
we always have coupons.
But of course, eBay was eating that 20% apparently, as a way to get more sales up. Carol's, is your second store Hot Desert Deals on eBay? I can't find that store seller name.
Yes, it's hot as in HAUTE Desert Deals. So HAUTE Hot Desert Deals.
And then Ricardo also says sales have been excellent thus far in 2023, taking a shipping holiday today due to nonstop heavy rain on California drivers. Can't drive in the rain. They can't drive out here in Vegas either.
They can't drive out here either. We realized that California or Nevada is no different than California drivers. I mean, if not, they're worse.
Yeah, I mean, it could be bone dry on the road. They can't drive.
Yeah.
Tommy says you're only going to be as good as the company you surround yourself with. Try to associate with people doing better than you. It's always inspiring, not YouTube chats, real life. Yeah, I agree with that. And I've met people who I think are good, genuine people, but then you look at their situation, you look at their work ethic, and you kind of like, and you're like, I don't want to surround myself with a lot of that. So, I think that you're spot on right there. And you can get motivation from those kind of people where, I mean, how is someone that's just, I'll just use the L word, lazy or non-motivated, or you're watching them they don't work. When they do work, they don't do a whole lot. How are you going to get motivated by that? You need to surround yourself with people that motivate you, because there's going to be some days you're not motivated at all, but then you see what they're doing. You're going to be like, wow, I got to get my act together. Paul Mendelson says, went from top rated to above average on one of my accounts because I didn't have enough transactions. I only had 85, had 100% both accounts, exemplary feedback, couldn't source enough items. Why punished? Yeah, I get it. They just want to see you having a lot of, transactions, a certain number. So there's got to be a cutoff, because look, if they said, okay, we're going to make it 10, then they could just have just your average Joe become top rated. That this tells me get more listings up, increase. And I say this kind of, even though I said my goal isn't to increase the size of the store, but in your case, increase the size of your store so that you can get enough listings to qualify. Let's see. Tommy says eBay will suspend you for improper variation listings. Been there, don't that I can attest. So I've done that before when I had those records, and I have a bunch of records, but when I was putting the records, but those I've sold. Like when I had the Christmas ones, I had like about 100 different Christmas records, put them all in one variation listing, right? I mean, that worked. I didn't get hit with that, but I see where you're coming from. Tommy Z says, I sell from my basement / living room. Basements are cool. I wish we had basements out here in Vegas. I would definitely be utilizing a basement if I had it. Utilize the space that you have. Barbara Gubin says, I had someone drive an hour and 40 minutes just to pick up a $100 table and chair set that Amazon was selling for $129. That was interesting to me. Mm-hmm. And, it's something that I was thinking about, over the last few days is I may have something at $100 and very close to what's priced on Amazon but people are oblivious to that. They don't have any idea that it's on Amazon with free shipping at the same prices that I'm selling it for. They only see what they see, and some people just don't either even know how to find lower prices, or they really just don't care. They see what they want and they buy it. Cumberland Carpet Care. I've been buying an auction site this way. I know the sell-through rate of the item and what my max bid will be to profit.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a way to do it. Tommy Cottrell says, what I'd like to list are stamp sets. They're made by the same company, but the stamp sets vary by what they stamp. I see others that sell them in one listing. I can't figure out how they do this. So that's like the Stamp It Up ones that I was going to buy at the yard sale. That lady had a ton of stamps. She never got back to me. And I'm kind of glad I didn't buy all the stamps from her, because it would have been a lot of $10 listings, this, that, and the other thing, kind of getting away from where I want to be. But maybe someone in the chat can answer that question, or at least give you some insight on that, because I haven't really sold any stamps. I had one opportunity and it just didn't happen. Ping G says, I often have the same item in different sizes and color, but I list each item in separate listings to avoid confusion by the buyer. Yeah, I don't really like to do variations. Are kind of they're more involved, and they're kind of a pain in the butt to set up. And if I have two different items, two of the same item, different colors, I'm more inclined to make separate listings. That's just the way it is for me. Anna Molnar says, I bought a year's worth of newspapers. I crumple and stuff my breakables with lots of it and work amazing cheaper. Way to go, folks. I had a very, very delicate item that we had to ship yesterday. It's the final bit. It's, again, one of those 100 CD changers and the receiver that goes with it, right? And I said, I'm not letting this happen again. We had a big enough box where there's like 3 inches on every side, so that the item isn't touching the side of the box. And I said, I have to, these little bubbles aren't going to do it. So I went and got one of the worst things I think that you can maybe put in your boxes as a seller, but I had to do it for this one. It's the packing peanuts. I hate packing peanuts. When I'm opening up a box, I don't want all those damn things flying around. But in this case, got like a big bag of the bigger packing peanuts, and I just put a layer down. I put the item in there, and then I filled the sides and the top with the packing peanuts. And the item itself, all the receiver and the changer are already wrapped in a ton of bubble wrap to begin with. So I'm pretty confident that those are going to arrive in better shape than the last one did. Tommy, he says, supposedly Northeast servers are affected. I guess I'm lucky my Northeast server isn't in the Northeast. So I heard something about the Northeast and Midwest servers, but what is it? Is it like, is someone hacking those servers? Does eBay need to go on eBay and buy some new servers? What is it? I'm very curious about that. Tommy says, if they had daily server issues, I think they wouldn't have like 2 billion in sales last quarter. Yeah, I don't think it's a daily. You may have a server here and the server there, but yeah,
I can't see how you can have server issues that often in a big giant fucking.
You've got little children watching this show.
A big.
She's getting a little too real for this program. I'm second guessing.
Like I was just talking to my husband.
I'm second guessing this whole host the show thing.
I apologize.
Might have to put a little rated R sticker on
as I do.
Yeah, I'll remember that. I'll remind you of that. Okay. You said that.
Okay.
Put it up in quotes. Okay. Backyard Mowing says, I wonder if James daily tickets have a straight to trash button. I thought that I called eBay a lot, right? This guy, I mean, I love James. Don't get me wrong. I do watch his videos. Some of the videos he puts up daily, but I watch it and I'm just motivated by just looking at the whole Raiders of the Lost Ark warehouse and basically what he has going on. That's a lot of work, a lot of dedication. And I don't want to disparage the guy at all. But I got to say that man calls eBay more than I used to. And I got to tell you, I thought I was on their hate list. But but I think because he has an anchor store, he's got an easier way.
Hold on.
What?
I apologize. That slipped.
So here's the deal.
Jenna, I have a potty mouth. I talk like a sailor on a regular basis, and it just comes naturally.
You let out your secret.
I did let my secret out. I apologize. I've done.
It went
this
from
long.
We can't wait to get Jenna on the program to like.
No, they're all like, man, they like it, but I don't feel comfortable with it.
No. Let's see. Tommy says most people's recession is because political values, sadly. Yeah, but as long as eggs are way higher than they should be, we have a problem.
Oh no!
What did I miss? Oh my goodness!
Please forgive Jenna's oh
God.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys.
I'm never going to be able to be allowed
Here's
on
the thing.
The show again.
When you work for years in a call center, you learn
how to control your tongue.
So for her to do that, I apologize, guys.
No, really? Says the guy who talks even worse of a sailor.
I don't do it on either you have video proof or it doesn't happen. So
thank you.
Sorry, guys.
And the fact that it's 666, really.
You could have sent 665. I mean, but thank you, Noah Design. I appreciate you doing that.
Nonetheless, the Twitch channel instead, Jenna After Dark.
Oh boy,
no.
Let's see. Trying to get to some questions here. We have a lot of comments, but no questions.
Well, you're only at 3:45.
Hey, I'm working my way up here. Sorry, guys. I won't sing or anything like that. I promise.
See, they said don't apologize. Nobody's.
Alex says the built-in background removal built into iPhone is good. Now, if you're talking about the one, not eBay's background removal, but if you go into a photo and you take a photo and you put your finger on the item and you hold it there and it'll like kind of float. I think he's talking about that one. What I don't get is how do you put that image into a clear background to where you can use it as a photo? That's the part I have a problem with. Maybe you can enlighten me on that. But we got another person. What happened here?
Yeah.
Chris says nothing. He just sent $4.99. Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate you. Jeez, guys.
I guess maybe I should drop the F-bomb a little more.
I guess so, huh? Get this show going here.
Yeah, watch out for the solo show, guys.
Yeah, really. Let's see.
There's no more. What are you doing?
Oh, geez.
Mouthwash for Jenna. Prosser.
Hey, I still have that mouthwash.
No, you don't. I threw it.
You threw it away?
Yeah.
I was going to put it up on Mercari.
No, it's gone.
It's gone. That $400 bottle of
Thank
mouthwash
you.
is gone. Can't even use it for Jenna.
I have mouthwash. Thank you.
As far as that coupon, Tommy says that coupon wasn't for our little stores. That was for partner stores. Yeah. I've always wondered about that. Tommy says, I don't find any inventory. Every time I order a balloon full of inventory, Roman shoots it down. That's funny. Is Roman even here? Is he in his alias?
Yeah, he's right there.
Oh, okay.
Wait, there he is right there.
Yeah, there he is. Sorry, Roman. Didn't mean to block your anytime picker name.
That wasn't even us. I don't know how that happened.
I don't know. We got a rogue. We have a rogue moderator.
One of our mods must have, gone in and did some tweaking.
Eric V says, will eBay be the next Amazon with fleet and warehouse? I've heard that they were doing that. I don't know if they're doing anything like that, where you send in stuff like FBA for Amazon. Maybe they scrapped it, but I haven't heard of that. Maybe they're still trying to figure out how to get payment for our buyers before they do anything like that. Michelle E says, for the casual seller, how to keep records and will I get taxed if I'm just clean out the closets? No. Here's the thing. You got to look at it as, did I make money off this item? Okay, personal or not. So if you bought this item back in 1980, let's say maybe you're cleaning out your closet. I don't know. Maybe I'm just wrong for saying that. Maybe you're a lot younger than that. But if you're finding an item in your closet that you spent $100 on and you sold it for $50, you made no money on that. You sold it for less than what you bought it for. Therefore, you are negative as far as profit is concerned. So you wouldn't have to report that. So most items, unless they become vintage and increase in value, where I spent $100 on it, but wow, someone gave me 200. Now that one's taxable. So, and that's technically whether it's a personal item or not. The only reason why they say, hey, if you're selling personal items, because most people aren't going to make more than what they spent on the item. I had someone ask me, well, how do you keep track? Well, you just, you put together a spreadsheet. Most people don't have receipts for what they bought 20, 30 years ago. You just got to do your best to, put the cost that is approximate to what you paid for it. And, if you ever do get it audited, you're going to have that conversation and say, this is what I paid for it. This is what I made. I didn't make any money. If that makes sense.
Apparently Tommy blocked Roman.
Oh.
But I don't know how. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Let's see. Tommy says the ceiling is 100 times easier to hit when scaling if you're increasing listings versus increasing ASP. Unquestionable. If you're increasing listings, but to me though, I mean, in my experience, I could have kept going down the same path because I had lower ASP, and it was about, do I want to just grind, put up, even more listings and hope that I get more money? Or do I need to start changing what I'm sourcing, buying higher end stuff and selling that? And that's worked for me. And I don't have to worry about having a whole warehouse full of stuff. I'm kind of skipping around here, so I apologize. Eddie Estrada's in the house. I already was renting a storage unit before I started selling clothing on eBay. So I just got the next size up for $50 more a month to add my inventory on it. But you can justify the extra expense because you're selling more. Let's see. Real R says, got to see that coming if you're going to dip below 100 and just sell some random stuff. It costs to hit the 100. I sell a lot of stuff that's not only $100. I mean, if you look at my store,
our variety, our dollar amounts are very
random.
Random.
But I'd like to think my average price is somewhere now, instead of around $20, it's closer to 40 because of the items I put up. I still put a lot of the shoes up on my main account, but I'm putting a lot more valuable stuff on there, I think. And because it doesn't cost me a lot, if something happens, it happens. Like I had a return where the item was broken. I didn't see that there was an issue. No big deal. I'm out the $10 and just move on. That's what happens when you deal with liquidation. We got Flippin' It's in the house. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Josh Galt says that the site search is all messed up, or James says that the site search is all messed up. Only search results showing up are international items. I don't quite believe that. And now there's international items showing up.
Of this live, somebody said something about the eBay landing page wasn't working.
So
no, I don't know.
So, I mean, if I go in and do a search for iPhone 13 Pro and I want to buy something, it's showing me all kinds of stuff, then it's not UK. I don't see any UK listings in the top 10. So I don't know what that's about. It could be what you're selling. It could be what you're selling. I had someone ask a question. Well, you know what? My sales are down. I'm quitting eBay. I'm doing great on Mercari. I'm doing great on another site. And it could be the stuff, if you're selling liquidation and you're selling the third-party brands that you have high competition on eBay, but no competition on Mercari, that's another reason why you could be dealing with slower sales. No One Design 2 says, here's a tip about the packing peanuts. Get a cheap Walmart gallon bags and fill them up, and you got packing peanuts, pillows. Ta-da, you're welcome. It was just a one-time I'm in a pinch kind of thing. I'm going to start buying the big bubbles.
We're very, very low on bubble wrap right now because he doesn't listen to me.
I listen. I just don't act on what you say. especially when there's
So
curse words involved.
Oh, that's I know no other language. So that's, you need to get the
Chris says,
bubble
Jenna, I
wrap.
just love how real you are. Those words that slip out, dang.
Sorry.
Carol says, if power goes out in the area of the country where they are, they may have backup generators of that building, but with storms happening all across the country now, I don't know if that has anything to do with the server thing, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. Ashley says, gotta love Jenna, dropping the F-bomb, keep it real.
I'm never going to live this down.
Oh,
I
that's
don't
great.
even think John has ever slipped.
I'm gonna
So
go on my little
I'm
trip.
never gonna.
I'm gonna go on my little trip. I'm gonna come back and then I'm gonna get a little thing from YouTube saying we've terminated your account due to too many F-bombs in one.
I watch a lot of people on YouTube, okay, and they use cuss words like it's going out of style. So
Flipping it says, how do you guys deal with rare items where exact comps aren't available? What I do is if you don't have comps available for that, it's time to set an auction up. So you're setting up an auction, and you might even want to avoid using the buy it now because you really don't want to put a price that's going to undersell your item. If you can look for comps that maybe you said aren't exact comps, but if you get an idea of what other similar items sold for, you get a kind of a ballpark and start your bidding off at what you're accepting for it, at maybe at the lowest price, and let the market take care of the rest. That's what I would say to do. Let's see. Jenna, you got to put on your YouTube face. Jeez.
Put on my YouTube mouth.
TikTok, does eBay need to go on eBay and buy some more servers? LOL. Well, yeah. I mean, do they need to? I mean, heck, we might be able to get them some deals here. Use their own coupons if they need them. Tommy says, I explained to them, Roman, that watching the show nude is a European thing and they shouldn't be offended. Mm-hmm. Tommy says, I'm a mod. John, isn't that silly?
I'm not a mod.
I'm not a mod. No, you are a mod, actually.
No, Tommy is not a mod.
I thought you made him a mod.
No, I told you I was not going to make him a mod.
You did. I was going to blame it on Tommy.
That.
Mark says, here's a great idea. On Friday, you and Jenna should change chairs. Let her sit in the commander's seat and run the live. John, you just sit as co-host. Just give her the chance to run the show.
Oh, God.
Okay. I'll sit back and I'll just, and you say something funny, I'll just kind of like smile.
Yeah, right.
Royal R, I can't, you know what? We got to change your name because I just can't. Sorry. Royarl says, oh, sorry, I meant 100 for the numbers of items needed to keep top rated for the guy who fell to 85. Okay. Ashley says, hi, just sold my biggest sale on eBay. Question is, after this, should I up my sales or go less? Was over 300. No, I mean, build your store. There's nothing wrong with building a store. I mean, I have between the two stores almost 900 items. It's not like I'm going to get to 1,000 and say, I got to stop. I don't, if I build a store that's over 1,000 items, I'm not going to be happy about it. I'm not going to think that's some kind of achievement. I'm going to be looking at how much did I make as a result of having that large of a store, if that makes sense. So keep making the sales, keep investing the money into your stores, and get to where you are comfortable, or at least, and I say get out of your comfort zone, but get to where you're making what you're trying to make out of eBay, and keep building it until you get there. Alex says, I believe that the site search is in regards to those two regions you mentioned earlier. It's supposedly in their coding and they are working on it, and only happens randomly or something. So it's time to invest. Look, invest that money into the money, all these fees that we're paying you, eBay, invest it into the infrastructure so that we don't have these problems. To me, it's unacceptable, in 2023 that we're dealing with these kind of things for a site like eBay. I would expect Bonanza to do this to us. Wouldn't expect eBay to have these kind of problems. Miss Lachey Resells says, several searches I've done today only showed items nearest to me within 100 miles. The others said were international.
Yeah, that's weird.
Interesting. Ashley Mew says, sold books for $300 and have a lot more not listed. Just would be good idea to list more on eBay. Yeah, get it up there, get it listed, and make that money. Noah Design says, my wife says if you meet a woman that doesn't drop an F-bomb here and there, never trust them.
Well, I guess I'm really trusted because
you can trust her now. Bill York says, don't forget to use a shredder for junk mail and replace the bubble wrap. I hate that even more than the peanuts. Having that shredded, nasty, gritty paper all over the place.
I mean,
don't
I
like
guess
that.
it would be fine if we're the one putting it in the box, but I don't like being on the receiving end of that.
Yeah. And I like this method. 7-day auction ending Sunday, 3 to 7. Those are the prime hours. I think Sunday's really the best time to end an auction.
Yeah.
And again, you can have all kinds of auctions, but if the item doesn't have, let's say it's a one-off item. I'm sure this is the answer to the other gentleman's question about the item that they were trying to sell, and they didn't know the value to. If there's not a lot of interest in it, you're not going to get the price that maybe you were hoping for, even with auctions. So that's why I would start it off with what the price at what you're comfortable getting out of it, just in case you get that one bidder that happens to want it, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Shipping ain't easy, says, can't wait for some garage sales this year with the price of eggs. Yeah, can you believe it? You're going to have like eggs out for sale.
I know. Well, they probably already do.
I just haven't seen any yet. Carol says, is there a way to direct message mods on here during lives for issues? Couldn't find a way to do that in general chat. I don't know. That's a good question.
If you ever have a issue with, or you want to get in touch with a mod or one of us, send us a message on Instagram. I don't know if you're following us on, well, you can go on my personal Instagram, or you can go on the Flippin' Ain't Easy Instagram and go to message us there. I'm going to have to have all of our mods send me your phone numbers so we can have a text thread. Can you guys okay, so Picky Ricky, Prosser, No One Design. No, is No One Design? You know what? No One Design question while you're here. I tried to make you a mod last live and it would not let me. It will not find you in search. So maybe you have, I don't know what. There's, for some reason, we can't put you as a mod. But Tyler, he's not here today, but he's a mod. So
Ed's not here either.
And Ed's not here too. If you guys, Prosser and Ricky, will you send us a email with your phone numbers so we can create a text thread just for the mods?
Art got his sale, so hit the like button, guys. You'll get your sale in the next 24 hours. It's going to happen. Miss Lachey says, when you click the listing, it's not actually international, but how many buyers just go away without further investigation?
Tommy's blocking No One Design from being a mod.
I
don't know. That could be true, but I tried to add you and it won't let me. Like it won't, when I go to type your name in, you don't pop up.
Let's see. Ashley says,
Tommy, quit causing chaos.
Ashley says, I will mention I bought something from you and love it. Awesome. What did you buy? I'm curious.
Oh, Ashley, were you the one that bought on Posh?
I think so. That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Tommy says, best part of living near the Amish, they haven't read online about egg prices.
I wish.
That's funny.
Maybe we could get eggs from the farm over here.
I'm sure they've heard by now. I'm sure that they've heard about the price increases. I'm sure they're increased their prices as well. Ivan Killens. I sell postcards and postal history. I use 5 a day. Okay, awesome. Winter Baby sold some Raggedy Ann vintage fabric that was donated along with the box of other fabric for my daughter's mother-in-law. Don't turn down donations. Just go through it all and donate what I don't use. Yeah. Let's see. Getting kind of close to. Tommy says, no, YouTube is no different than my home life. It's all my fault.
It's all your fault, Tommy.
Yep. Prosser says, John, Jenna, I think you guys have my number. John's seen it on a listing and my other details. Yeah, I can go. I could probably find it. I know your first name, Prosser. I just don't use it on here. Just don't, unless you want me to. But you guys are awesome. We have over 166 people that are watching, and we're an hour and 39 minutes in.
With remote, I needed and works.
Bought an RCA converter box with the remote I needed, and it works great. Awesome.
Oh,
great. It worked. No, just
when
joking.
You buy from us, leave us a note, because I usually like to do something special with your package so that I
not drop it.
That
okay.
And I like to do just a little something when I know that it's a viewer that's buying from us. Ask Mike.
Yes, we Mike like to do that.
Gets lots of love notes from me.
Yeah. And so hopefully we're going to be doing some cool things here for the show.
Yes, we are going to be doing some fun things for the
So
show.
Hang in there with us. Again, Monday is going to be a 6 p.m. live stream. So if you tune in at 3, you're not going to see anything until 6. But I am very, very excited to have this guy on the show. Want to pick his brain about, the whole game of sourcing, and maybe there's some nuggets that you guys can ask questions and pick his brain as well, because he doesn't do a whole lot of videos where he tells about what he does. He just shows you what he does. And that's the art of resell. And if you've not checked out his channel, go and check out his channel. He's very entertaining. He's very good with the videography, and he certainly is one of my favorites to watch. That's for sure. So,
and so that means Monday I will not be here. Yeah. I'll be modding.
She'll be spending the weekend practicing new curse words to use next Friday for you guys.
I have no need to practice, because I practice on a daily basis all day long.
Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us. These reports where eBay is losing money, like last quarter, 8.9%. Does it really surprise anyone? Does it really surprise anyone that eBay is having issues? I think they really need to take a look at how they're interacting. I've always said this: you build the customer that they should be focusing on right now is building the seller base, building a platform that sellers enjoy selling on and not having problem after problem. Get the core problems fixed, and then I think you can kind of go into more of a positive growth mode and attract more buyers, because it's a positive experience for everyone. But these things are out of your control. All you can do is what you can do with your business. Don't let these things bring you down. Keep focused on what you're doing, and just know that things like 8.9% loss in revenue is not your problem, but it's another sign that sometimes flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have an excellent weekend, and we will talk to you.
Have a good weekend, guys.
Very soon. Good night.
Bye.